Hello everybody. Can you hear me? Knock knock. Need to warm up a little bit. I have the metronome set at 180, and I will be doing 4 measure vamps, 8th notes with the right, 4 with the right, 4 with the left. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. That's 5, 6. Hold on. There you go. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. I know, Mike. 2. Can you hear me? 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. Left hand. 2, 3. Can you hear me, Mike? 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 4. Left hand. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Notice the wrist. 3, 2. Only from the wrist. 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. That was 180. What we're going to do for the agenda today, we're going to work on Formula 2001, or 2002 rather, 2001 rather, or 201. I kind of took one of Joe Morello's exercises from Master Studies. I believe it's line 27. And the exercise goes like this. It's 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. Now, this exercise here is good for the attack to strengthen that weak hand. What's going on here? Come on. There you go. Hello, Susan. How are you? Why am I freezing like that? Okay. Anyway, you should have the PDF. I believe it says Formula 201 or Formulas. Stick Control Formula 2001. Do we all have that? What you need to do now with this is to really understand the level system. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate this at like 9,000 miles per hour. What I'm going to do is dissect it. I'm trying to figure out what is occurring with my hands. And I do it very, very slow. Now, the reason for you to do it slow is that you understand that it's going to be either a downstroke or a free stroke or a tap or an upstroke. And you want to be looking very regimented. And actually, the slower you practice something, the stronger you become and the faster you'll be able to play it. So I took the formula R equals 1. E, and the. Now, just that alone, I have a downstroke and 3 taps. Then I made left equal 1, E, and the. So now you see the consistency of my sound and the control of my sticks. I have the downstroke, which is the accent, sounding the same, no matter where, or if it's whatever R or left or whatever I'm doing, it's sounding the same, and all the taps are sounding the same. So let's go to line 1. The sticking for line 1, as you see it in the stick control book, is right, left, right, left. Now, it's counted in the stick control book as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So what I'm going to do now is take the right, whatever that becomes is going to be 1, E, and the. Then the next one is going to be the left. But something is going to occur. What is going on with this today? Hello? Hello, who is this? Speaking. Come on, I'm busy. What's up? Sorry about this. Why this is happening. Reload. Okay, sorry about all of that. So R becomes 1, E, and L becomes, so I have the sequence right, left. So now something's going to happen here. I'm going to go 1, which is a downstroke, E, and I have to come up to get in position to attack the left side. 2, E, and the 3, and the 4, E, and the. So in that sequence, how you doing, Charlie? All right, well, that's fine. I'm having a little difficulty with the feed. I don't know what the problem is today. So I'm doing line 1, and I want to do it slow. I want to constantly do it for 2 or 3 minutes. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the 1, and the 2, and. Now notice when I'm doing that, my downstroke is consistent in sound with the left side, and my taps are consistent. So I have 2 different sounds. I have the downstroke, and the tap, and the upstroke. The motions, there's 3 motions there, but they all sound the same consistently. How you doing, Ross? Okay, so now, let's skip line 2 and do line 3. The sticking sequence is right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Now we're going to have 2 rights in a row and then 2 lefts in a row. So something again happens, the motion, the figure remains the same. The motion is going to change. So I have 1, which is a free stroke, E, and the. Now I'm still in position to hit the next up and coming action at the right. 2, but I have to stay down because I'm going to have to get in position to play the left hand action, which is E and the, and I'm up. So if you're having difficulty with this, what I don't like to do when I do PDFs is write down the motion, what a downstroke is, an upstroke, a tap, so on and so forth. What you need to do, it's your journey. Oh boy, what's going on? it's your journey, okay, to find out. See, the beauty of doing the levels is a natural way, and when you're wrong, it comes out and smacks you. It says, no, no, no. So I'm going to do line three, which is right. I have 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. So, a little up tempo. Now, you need to, there's so many things to watch here for. This is not about how fast you can play something. It's how you could make this kind of figure effortlessly by revisiting, or visiting rather, the level system. Because that's what this is about. It's 1, E, I'm doing line 3. 1, it's full stroke, and the down, E, and up. Free stroke, down, up. Now you want me to, if you want to put on the PDF what is what, I'll give it to you now. Line 3, the 2 rights, 2 lefts. The first stroke is a free stroke. That's 1. E is a tap. And is a tap. The is a tap. Now we're going on the second right. So the second right now, 2 is a downstroke. 2. Why is that a downstroke? Because my up and coming accent is going to be the left. So on the E of 2, it's a tap. The and of 2 is a tap. The da of 2 is an upstroke. Now I'm in position now to hit the next accent, which is the left side. So I have 3, it's a free stroke. E of 3 is a tap. And of 3 is a tap. The of 3 is a tap. Now 4 is a downstroke. 4. All right, the E of 4 is a tap. The E of and of 4 is a tap, and the da of 4 is an upstroke. So what I'm setting myself up for is to always be in position to attack the accent, maintaining the levels, maintaining the sound. That's making that stronger. I mean, you probably can, you know, I have guys come in here and ladies come in here for drum lessons, and I can't do this any faster than 80. That's because you need to hang out here. Nice and relaxed. Over and over again. Okay, any questions to this point, people? Any questions? Now I did send, I'm going to do a couple more lines of this. I did send the stick control book, Sticking, with the bembe, not bembe, the biome, the clave, and the grid. Do we all have that? Now, Mike, believe it or not, this is a very important exercise. The more you exercise this, your weaker hand is going to become stronger. Well, at this point, Susan, what you're doing is you're understanding the levels. Let me give you an example of something here, which is natural. You take a little kid, 10 years old perhaps, and he has a pair of drumsticks in his hands. You give him a pair of drumsticks. He wants to be just like you, me, or whoever he's looking at. So he'll naturally grab the sticks, matched or German, okay? And what you say to him, okay, play this. He's going to play exactly what you're playing. So he's going to play a run of 16th notes without any accents, like so. He's pretending to be you. So he's playing those 16th notes pretty nice, pretty equal, no accents. So you tell him, okay, hit one of them harder. Now, whether he hits the one, the E, the and, or the da, who knows? but he will naturally lift the stick higher and hit the accent. So what you're doing with this particular exercise, and anything that you play, especially the paradiddle, mostly that's what I like, you're doing the levels, whether you realize it or not. So it's a natural thing to do. So what I'm doing is taking this exercise, dissecting it, explaining to you what is occurring, so you can reinforce what is natural, make it stronger. So what you're doing, for example, line 3, it's simple. My next one's going to be a right-hand accent. Some people go like this, then lift, then throw. That's not necessary. I mean, you're not going to get any faster. And you got to work a little harder to get in position to nail the accent. So you're getting ready. I did a run of that. All right, 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 left, 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 right, left, right, left, right, left. It helps that weak hand of yours. Most people that I've come across who are right-handed have the weak side, their left side. And the left-handed players have their weak side, their right side. So that's the objective of the exercises and the formulas and the brilliance of George Lawrence Stone, is taking the right hand and taking the left hand and equalizing it in strength. That's the objective. Surfacely, yes, you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? That's cool. That's what the object is, to make the right side and the left side equalized in sound and attack. That's why when he goes to line 2, he has the left side. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then he expands it or extends it. Line 3 rather. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The man was just brilliant. The way he intended that book to be, and the objective of that book, surfacely, was to make the right side and the left side equalized in attack and in sound. Okay? Now, Susan, you're new to my concepts or my approaches. And you see, the stick control book, people tell me, yeah, I had that book, I went through it 30 years ago. Well, I've used that stick control book every day. And I come up with different formulas, different exercises, using the brilliance of George Lawrence Stone. But the basic concept is the full stroke, doing it in full strokes with the vamp, half strokes with the vamp, and quarter strokes with the vamp. Do you understand what I mean by doing it with the vamp, Susan? Okay, let me give you an example. I'm going to do this at 100. You know, one lesson next week, I'm just going to label the lesson, the agenda, as questions. So sort some questions out, some things that you want to make sure that you're not wasting your time and you're doing the exercises for your benefit. Here's what we're going to do, Susan, just to give you a little bit of demonstration. I'm going to play line 1 as written, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 measures, then I'm going to repeat the line. That's a total of 4 measures. Now, whatever hand I end with is a hand I vamp with. Now the vamp's going to be 8th note vamps. So I'm going to vamp with my left hand on line 1, 8th notes for 4 measures, and go directly into line 2. I'm going to do this maybe about half strokes. Well, actually, let me put the tempo up a little bit. And this is going to benefit everybody, just to review it a little bit. That's my quarter note, 1, 2. I'm going to do line 1. 1, 2, coming down from the same spot. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, vamp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. Now on line 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. I'm popping the sticks. 4, 2, 3, vamp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. 4, line 3. 1, 2, equal sound. 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4. Then 4, 2, 3, vamp. 1. 2, 3, 4, line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, and 1. 2, 3, 4, line 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, and 1. 2, 3, so on and so forth. Now that's the way George Lawrence Stone taught the stick control book. Okay, going from line to line at a variety of tempos and a variety of sticking heights. That I learned from Joe Morello. That's his lessons that he had taken with George Lawrence Stone. One thing I wish I had done, other than studying with George Lawrence Stone, Joe Morello, was to have studied with George Lawrence Stone. But that was, way before I could get to that. He passed away. So I got secondhand George Lawrence Stone from Joe Morello. And Joe Morello was George Lawrence Stone's prize student, I assumed. That's what, he had a lot of good students. And that's where the Accents and Rebounds book comes from, because, Joe got actually bored with doing the exercises, and he put accents inside of the sticking patterns. And that's gave George Lawrence Stone motivation to write a book which was dedicated to Joe Morello, which was Accents and Rebounds. Now I'm extending or expanding on the stick control book, and it's very difficult when I'm doing the grid, when I'm doing the clave, the 3/2 sewn clave, or the biome, with the accent patterns. And they're going to help your hands. It's your journey. It's not something to play extremely fast. It's for you to improve, okay, the natural approach to drumming. I do not, like I said the other day, throw a stick down, release it, and catch it. That's absurd. But, I don't want to go to that subject anyway. But it's hard for me not to do that, but I'm going to do it. The object of George Lawrence Stone, that's what we're doing. We're doing a one-surface drum pad exercise. The school that I come from, I was in the drum corps, and they have the language, the 26 basic rudiments way back then. Then they expanded it to 40 drum rudiments. And it's a language, a drum corps field drumming language. Okay? But where the school I come from, there's only 3 rudiments. There's singles, there's doubles, and there's flams. And everything else is a combination of either single, double, or flam. And with the definition of hybrid, after line 4 of stick control book, you're introduced, well, it's the paradiddle sticking, but you're introduced to a hybrid. It's a combination of singles and doubles, and then the variations of the paradiddle in different sticking patterns. So after line 4, every line of stick control book from page 5, 6, and 7 is a hybrid rudiment. Do we all understand the term hybrid rudiment? I need some response on this one, yes or no. Well, it's Monday, I'm trying to wake up, gentlemen. You understand, Charles? Okay, good for you. Mike, Susan, ooh, Ross, do you understand? Okay, but that's a hybrid, and you can make up any rudiment. You call it whatever you want. Joe's washing machine, my pancake mix, or whatever you want to call it. Who cares? You open up a sheet music and it has 30-second notes tied over to the end. You could use that as a 5-stroke roll, a 7-stroke roll, or just roll over to the hand. And that becomes labeled as a rudiment, a 5-stroke roll, or a 7-stroke roll, or a 9-stroke roll, because there's 9 strokes. And the language has become not universal no more. It has become crazy and very confusing. Back then, like if you studied the Buddy, where's my mouse? when you study the Buddy Rich book, okay, what's going on? Hold on. When you study the Buddy Rich book, in there it has 3-stroke rough, 4-stroke rough. Now, for some reason or other, it's called the single 4. Why, I don't know, but that's okay. That's what they want to call it. Or they call it funk drumming, or fat back, or displacement, or playing over the line. All these things want to sound sophisticated, and they're not. You know, you play. Okay. Now, tonight's lesson on my site, we're going to explore the samba. We're going to use the stick control book and the syncopation book with a basic samba pattern. And we're going to use the vamping with the samba foot pattern. We could use the vamping with the 3-2 clave with the foot. All right, Dylan, wake up. All right, and Dylan, did you get the PDFs? So tonight's lesson is going to be a drum set application, which I intend to do for the next couple weeks. Is 1 p.m. on YouTube and 8:30 p.m. on my site. So what I do with one surface, I like to do that on the drum set the night of the lesson. So I'm going to try to keep that sequence going, depending on some, you know, request that I get or whatever. Now, do we all understand the natural approach? Susan, you seem to, you know, do you understand that? Dylan, Mike, Charles, Ross, and whoever else is in here don't want to come forward and say hello? I really would like to have everybody in the chat who's viewing, they could ask questions, and that would be really nice. Like I said, one day, maybe next week or the week after, we're just going to have a segment that's going to say, yes, natural. Charles, it's natural. There's a science to stroking, whether you want to realize it's the laws of physics. You know, if I throw the stick down from a certain point, I'm going to get a certain volume. It's like a basketball. If I play, and this is natural, if I want one sound, a light sound, okay, I'm going to hit from this point. If I open it up a little bit, the distance becomes greater, the sound becomes louder. That's natural. If I do singles at a certain volume, low, and volume, I'm taking it from here. If I want to put an accent on one of those strokes, okay, there has to be a motion that occurs, which is an upstroke and then a downstroke. All from the wrist. That's natural. I just demonstrated that if a little kid goes and plays single strokes like this, and you ask him to hit one note harder, he naturally will lift the stick up and come down. No breaking the momentum. That's the laws of physics. That's a natural way. You understand that? The best way, one of the exercises I developed from stick control book, I call the turnarounds. Do you have the turnarounds, Mike? Dylan? Charles? Susan? Ross? That's another lesson altogether. The one thing, if you're not familiar, well, here's what else is natural. Let me demonstrate this. If I play eighth notes with my right hand, I'm coming down from one spot. So scientifically or theoretically, I'm going with the motion. Maintaining the sound. Now, if I want to accent, I'm playing eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, what I'm going to do now, and without explaining to you, say, if you're playing this without any explanation with the level system, which you already play, and you don't know it, and I say, accent the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, you're going to go 1 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So what I'm doing there is I'm breaking it down for you to show you what's occurring. It's a downstroke, upstroke, down, up, 1 and 2 and no tension, no squeezing. Let the stick do what it's supposed to do. Don't fight the laws of physics. So on and so forth. Now, the turnarounds you don't have, we'll do a lesson Wednesday on turnarounds, but let me give you what I mean by turnarounds. Let's go to a 16th note mode. Single strokes, alternating strokes. 1 E and 2 E and E and 4 E and Now, what I did there was play 16th notes, alternating the strokes as single strokes, starting with the right hand. Now, if I want to start with the left hand, it's the same figure, and I'm now taking the left side and working it. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Now, if I said, do one measure right-sided, and then without stopping, do the measure, start the next line, measure rather, left-handed lead. So you have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. Now there's a little bit of hesitation there and a little bit of struggle. So we go with that to make the change, to make a turnaround, so to speak, is I do the measure 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and but on the count of 4 E and I'm making it a paradiddle. Watch. So I can put myself in position effortlessly to nail the accent with the left hand. 1 E and 2 E and 3. Watch. 4 E and look at that. I'm in position to nail the left side. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. And back to the right side. And I come down with the stick control book with formulas. For example, if I took line 3, right, right, left, left, and R becomes the right hand lead and L becomes the left hand lead, there has to be a change there. So if I go 1 E and sorry, let me do that again. 1 E and 2 E and now I can start with the left. 3 E and 4 E and The paradiddle is what makes the change. And I have the PDF sheets on that, and I will send them to whoever would like them, or just send them bulk to all the students. The one exercise you really want to do with the, like we did before, with this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, or really make in tune the right hand and the left hand attack, is doing, for example, start with the left hand. Let's do it with the right hand. We're going to reference off the stick control book again. I'm going to play just 8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now look at the stick control book and I say, okay, line 1, I'm going to eliminate all the lefts. So I have now on the count of 1, 2, 3, 4 is the rights. So I'm playing this underneath constantly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I want to reference off the stick control book as all R's become accents. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I go to line 2, the right falls now on the left, on the ands. So now my accent is going to shift to the ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, if I go to line 3, it's 2 rights. Now something else occurs here. We're going to need 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2. If I do line say, what was that, 9, right, 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 left? 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. 1 E and 2. So on and so forth. What is this here now? Kind of like permutation and retrograding. Well, permutations are unbelievable with the stick control book. It's an endless book. That's why when somebody says to me, you know, they've done the stick control book and 30 years ago and they don't pick it up no more, that's telling me, uh-oh, there's so much to the stick control book. If you really analyze everything that you play, okay, and formalize it, it all comes from the stick control book. Ross, you still there? And Susan? And Dylan? Knock, knock. I'm going to do a whole lesson on the turnarounds again and the accents. Permutations. Okay, good. Do we have any questions on anything? Who is going to be at the lesson at 8:30 p.m. tonight on my site? We're going to explore the samba patterns. And for this camp that I'm doing in October, I have a Cuban student. And man, he can play some sambas and some Latin music. And he will be here one of the days for a couple hours demonstrating all of that. Do we have any? You have questions, Susan? I know, Mike, you're going to be there. Susan, are you going to be here? It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or just one of those days? Well, the samba, see, I don't really play Latin per se, but I can give you basic concepts, and we're going to take it from the stick control book tonight, and for the and the syncopation book. There's so much to teach. You're going to be here, huh? Good for you. Okay. You can email me, tell me what dates you want, or if you want to be here all 3 days, it's up to you. And Mike, I have Michael Lewis get in touch with you for a room on the highway here on 22, where he stays the last couple times he was here. Okay, no questions? You're going to be there for 8:30, Sue. Okay. How about you, Charles? You're going to be there for 8:30 tonight? Ross and Dylan, Mike will be there. I know that. Knock, knock. Good. Susan's not going to be here. Okay, Mike. I'll hook you guys up. You can talk. It's like less than a half a mile away from my studio here. And they're very inexpensive and it's classy. Okay, with that all being said, anything you would like me to go over technically with the hands right now before I close up? Dylan, Mike, Susan, Charles, Ross, and whomever. For the samba, yeah, I haven't done none yet, but I will. I can send the print out on how it's best. Actually, I'm not going to have time to do that today. I have 9,000 phone calls to make because I have 2 shows, actually 3 shows, coming up in the next couple of weeks on my site, and that's with John Berger. John Berger, you might not know who he is, but I will, but don't, hold on. John Berger is a working drummer. You never really probably heard of him, saw him in magazines or whatever. And he studied with, first of all, he graduated Juilliard School of Music, so he's classically trained. And he's working, he does all these shows, he travels all over the world. And I finally got an opening for him. Okay, so he's going to be doing a show. And he studied with Gary Chester, the New Breed. And the agenda for that day is we're going to have a discussion and a demonstration of how the New Breed, okay, changed his direction and his concepts, and how it made him the player he is today. Okay, and then after that, that's going to be, I think, sometime in September the 13th or 14th. So I have to call up his sponsors like Vader Drumsticks, DW Drums, Heisty Cymbals, Remo Drumheads, so they could support this. Okay, then I have Carl Latham, who is from New Jersey, as a matter of fact, and he has a great recording studio. Right now, he has the Shirelles in his studio he's recording. Okay, he also studied with Gary Chester. And he's going to demonstrate, and we're going to compare differences about the Gary Chafee, not Gary Chafee, the Gary Chester new breed, how that helped him, and how it put him in the place he is today musically. And we can compare notes. As a matter of fact, we were on talk radio around the kit, okay, yesterday, and Carl was on. It was a tribute to Ringo Starr. There was Kenny Aronoff, Kenny Aronoff, it was Kenny Aronoff and Greg Bissonette. They were on as well. Yeah, the Shirelles are still around. I worked with them a few weekends, Soldier Boy and that kind of thing. My boyfriend's back at that app, but I think that's what they did too. But yeah, they're still around. I guess the leader is still around. They change, people occasionally. There's a lot of other old groups that are around. I don't know, Dion and Belmonts. I think the Belmonts broke up. But Carl's going to be doing a show. We're going to talk about his studio as well, and the songs that the Shirelles are doing. The rankiest group I ever backed up was the Coasters, if you remember them. Fee Fee Fi Fi. They smell smoke in the auditorium. Charlie Brown. All right. Well, one of the greatest gigs I ever had backing or playing with was Gene Krupa. And he was my idol when I was a little kid, and he still is my idol. He's just a great drummer. All right, any questions? No questions? We'll see everybody tonight at 8:30? Yes? No? Good. Okay, no questions. Ross, we'll see you tonight. Dylan, tonight. Mike. Hello? Charles, you going to come tonight? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me address this. Could I, what is this question? All right, the basic vamping, I mean, there is, all right, the vamp, first off, you have to understand where the levels are. We're not going to deal with the levels. When we vamp, it's a 4-measure vamp. Dylan, do you know how to count a 4-measure vamp or a 4-measure phrase? Dylan, front and center. That's not good. Okay. First off, you count in eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's 1 measure. So I'm going to count 4 measures. And when I play the first measure, and I'm going to stop after each measure to give you the count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I did it once. Now when I do it the second time, instead of counting 1 and, we're going to go 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Then the third time, we're going 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The fourth time, 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, so let me put that on. I'm going to do 4-measure vamps, and this is basic. With the right side and with the left side. 1, 2, ready now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Does that help you, Dylan? All right, let me explain why I call it the vamps. That's what Joe Morello calls it, so I call it. Now, a vamp, it can be when you make a change into something else, you're playing something to get into that change. Example, I'm sure that, you know, you went and to a few concerts in your life, or you've seen people on entertainers on TV doing a song. And after the song, the band is playing in the background something that's over and over again. It's called, you know, a loop, or I call it a vamp, until they get into the next song. So they're maintaining something until they get into the next song. And that's what I call, refer to as a vamp. So I call it the vamp. It's something that, I can't say play eighth notes for 4 measures, I could say that. Or I could say vamp for 4 measures, which we're using for the vamp. We could use 16th notes, we could use 8th note triplets as the vamp. When I refer to 8th note vamp, we're just going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Left hand. 2, 3, 4. Dylan, did that help you? I use the vamp after every line of stick control book. You know, there's just so much, and the language gets a little confusing because I call it one thing, another drummer calls it another thing. Yes, that's what it is. That's what you can. That's the way I use it. Let me do line 3 and 4 stick control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, and 1, 2. It's just a transition that I do. And it helps. Like, for example, a vamp should be half, if I'm doing 16th notes, 1 E and 2 with the accent, or no accent. If I dissect that and say play half that vamp with the right hand, I mean, play half the figure with the right hand, that's what you get. So when you vamp, you're actually helping that, or a vamp with the left side, the right side. Okay, we got it? I really need to close this up today, but I will be back to my, on my site, www.mattpatellallivelessons.com. Anybody want the PDFs? I'm going to try to send more PDFs to everybody. It's a lot of work writing that. It takes a lot of time. All right, and I have a lot of students in-house, plus preparing for the lessons. And I have 2 little kids, man. I'm trying to end their summer correctly. So I'll do the best I can for everybody. So you have a good rest of the day, practice, and come to the lesson tonight and ask the questions. Remember, one day or next week or the week after, we're just going to have a 1 p.m. lesson and an 8:30 p.m. lesson labeled questions. Okay, everybody? Have a good day.